Okay, so I just want to show those three videos to kind of give an example of three options that a person can take or a group can take in trying to get engaged in economic warfare in a particular company, right? So the first thing we talked about was short selling. Now, short selling is a very complicated strategy. It's done by people that really are what I would call pros that really understand how the market works. However, let me give an example of what I could do, right? And I'm not encouraging you to do this, but I'm saying that I can do, and I keep getting that repeat. Oh, because it's on a timer, my bad, that I can do if I wanted to engage in short selling. So what you got to understand is what I can do is I can reach out to the company, explain my displeasure around it, right? I don't like the fact that, so I'm an owner and I don't like the fact that they're engaged in a particular activity. And then if I decide to, after that time, I can always short sell their shares, right? And the reason why I can do that is because I understand, one, how to do it. I understand how it can impact that particular company. And I understand that this particular tactic is available to me just to try to depress their stock. I'm not really worried about the fact that it's going to kill the stock price. What I'm more worried about in this scenario with this media operation is that they're putting out a message that I don't agree with. And so what I'm going to try to communicate to them is that they're going to deal with an issue of share value until they start putting out people that are putting out messages that I don't agree with. And as an individual shareholder, I have a right to do that. I can short sell a stock for any reason that I want to. And I can have any opinion on a particular company. There's different people in this world, and we're not going to say their name because we're not going to promote them. They're trying to move from the fringes into the mainstream, and they're doing that using companies that are podcasting companies, right? But they're publicly traded. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're trying to move mainstream, and they can't move mainstream on Spotify or on another big platform as of yet. They got to prove themselves on a lower level. The challenge that we're going to have is that once they blow up, they're going to be so big that you're probably not going to be able to do nothing about them. The time to do something about them is now. The time to attack them is when they're trying to emerge out of this growth stage. And the challenge is that because we're not taught to think on this particular level, we're going to wait till they get a lot of momentum. We're going to wait until they get their name up. And then there's not going to be anything you're going to be able to do about them because they're going to be too valuable to a major corporation that they're never going to let them go. And we saw this with Joe Rogan and Spotify. Spotify has invested so much money in Joe Rogan that they were not going to let him go just because of controversy, because Joe Rogan has built himself up so much over the past decade that he's shown a lot of perceived value to a situation like Spotify that's trying to build out their podcasting platform. And so this is why I try to get people to understand is that there's a lot of options available to us to deal with adversaries. But because one, we don't know of the option, two, because we're not in a position to take advantage of the option, then three, because we don't have people that have the will to do it, we think the solution is just to argue with people on the internet. The next scenario that we talked about is buying to the company, become an activist investor, right? And so that's the where we buy into the company because we don't like how it's being operated. And then we go in and we become an activist and we start to dictate operations. Why? Because we hold such a percentage of the share. And we can do that as a group. So it's not about one person doing it. You can buy into a situation as a group, and you see this with hedge funds, and then you can start dictating, well, we think this particular company should be run this way because we think that's in the best interest of shareholders, right? You can do this at any time. You're also going to be an activist if you own a country's bonds. And we're often not taught the power of activist investing because why? We're supposed to be arguing on YouTube over why a person is or is not submissive. You know, this is what we're supposed to be having conversations over. Or why a person is scamming on credit cards. And once you figure that out, you still gonna, your situation economically still gonna be the same. It doesn't make me economically powerful to identify every scammer on YouTube. Third thing, hostile takeover or become an activist. So you're doing the hostile takeover because you want to become an activist. You want to go into the company and you want to start dictating. So what Musk tried to do was a hostile takeover, right? And then what he did was just what the guy talked about in the video. Once he realized that there could be information about bots in Twitter that I may not have been aware of because I did a hostile takeover, now I'm going to try to use it as justification not to go through with the deal. But Twitter put stipulations in the deal that's going to try to force him to either go through the deal or cash them out. That was essentially a hostile takeover. Musk felt like, I don't like the way Twitter operates as a media platform. I think they're involved in a certain level of censorship. And because I have the ability to put the deal together, I'm going to do a hostile takeover of Twitter. That's what that was called. That's what that is. That was a hostile takeover. So Musk understands that I'm engaged in economic warfare. Why? And we talked about before. Well, what was Musk trying to control with his play? Right? Let me restart just real quick. What was he trying to control with his play? He was trying to control minds and media. So because Musk understood that minds and media are important, it benefits me to make all these maneuvers to do what? Take over a media platform. Because a resource in this world is minds and media. You understand me? And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. So if you can get out of the argument, 3-hour live streams, or we're going to just argue back and forth and everybody got to try to get their point off and start implementing strategies in your real world, you can be effective in this particular area. Because my goal is to find enemies in my environment that are trying to move into the public space and figure out how I can impact their movement and not allow them to advance in the public space because I have influence over these particular publicly owned companies, and to continue to build myself up in an area which I can do this. And you see this happening all over the world. There are people that are investing in certain areas of the city because they want to dominate that, and their goal is to push other people out of that particular area. And they don't care where those people live. They're just not going to live there. We see people controlling water. We see people controlling labor. We definitely see people controlling energy. And then we also see people fighting for ownership. That's what we talked about on the equity side. So I really want to encourage you to start considering getting involved in economic warfare and being an economic hitman on behalf of your group. Or you can just sit on the sidelines and you can watch everything going by. But nothing is going to change for your group until you have the ability to produce people that can go do these things. Right? It's not about a person producing themselves in a vacuum. Is if you want those type of people, you have to have the ability to produce them, and you have to have the ability to support them. So if I say I want people in my group to be engaged in economic warfare, I have to have the ability to produce them, and I have to have the ability to support them, which means what? I have to have the ability to have conversations about these particular issues. I can't be a 5-year-old while they engage in economic warfare. Because I think because of my biological sex, I should be a 5-year-old. This world doesn't work that way. Right? And so that's what people have to understand. So we're going to go ahead and get through the comments. We're going to get up on out of here because we almost at the 1 minute mark. I'm almost at the 1 hour mark. My bad. Let me stop this screen. So Geechee Dan says, I think Elon's going to win against Twitter because the government has been backing him. And let's see how it goes. They got to go through court. So we'll see how once the court case starts to roll through. Excalibur, appreciate the $5. Cherie Biz Grant Biz Plan says we have to be active owners. We want to sway things away. Definitely. We got to be. Yeah, that's one of the issues, not just in ownership, but also politically. You know, so we still are doing vote, but politics is everything you do in between voting. And so we have to kind of attach our emotions to being engaged in these particular areas, or else the thing's just going to keep passing people by. So Geechee Dan says Gordon Gekko was able to take over the mic and give that greeting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so that's the thing about shareholders meetings. You can definitely do that. I was going to show a video about Charleston Heston talking about how he got Time Warner to drop Ice-T from Time Warner because he went to the shareholders meeting. You know, but I didn't want to. I had already played 3 videos. So I didn't want to turn it into like a video class. But that's definitely. And Charleston Heston only owned a few hundred shares of Time Warner. But even though because he was a shareholder, he was able to go to the shareholders meeting. And he was able to take and make his speech and make his say. And he said that a lot of the shareholders were not aware of the kind of music that Time Warner was putting out. And he made them aware of that. And then that changed how they dealt with artists because they also divested out of Interscope for the same reason. So Lee Tournament, I appreciate the $10. Yeah, I don't know if Puffy owns Revolt. I don't know. I don't know who owns it now. I mean, it's gone through so many changes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's the same thing with Arsenio and Farragon 30 years ago. You're right. And they made Nick sit down and talk. Definitely. So they made Nick go on an apology tour because they was going to take Nick's show away. And Nick doesn't own anything. See, what's unfortunate about Nick Cannon, the guy's been doing entertainment ever since he was a teenager. Nick don't have like a $10 million real estate portfolio. Because if he did, he could told them people to hell with y'all and just go manage his real estate portfolio. He needs access to that platform to continue to do what he does. So they're able to use that because he's built everything off access to that platform. And you will look at a guy like Nick and be like, dude, as long as you've been in entertainment, you haven't built any revenue streams that's not based on your relationship with other people and they having to agree with everything that you do. But no, it's not like that. So he had to go on a contrition campaign and show contrition, and then they let him get all his shows back. And that's how they play ball. So Jesse Jackson did his 30. He started getting shares of companies to make him listen to him. I 100% agree with you. So Get You Dan says, if you can get 5 to 10% control, you can get a lobby and get a seat on the board. Definitely. Let me see. Ray Gunn with the $2. We're going to get up on out of here. Yeah, but he gonna say he didn't know about it. I mean, YouTube got bots. You know, it was the Russian bots, and now it's the Spanish bots. It's just weird. You know, YouTube everybody has bot issues. I heard Instagram got crazy bots once you start building your page up. Yeah, I might have to show that on a later one because I didn't want to make it. You know, you used to back in the day, you used to go to the class and it'd be like it used to be like they show videos the whole class. I didn't want to turn it into that. I thought I would lose the audience. Yeah, I think that's the issue. You know, he can't quit working because he got so many children if he's going to try to take care of them. But Miss Cherie, you would think a guy that's been in entertainment would have insulated himself from certain things, but I just don't think he has. So he has to play ball. Because let me give an example. I was going to talk about this. So years ago, that guy that used to own the Clippers, right? He made those statements and that prostitute recorded them. So he lost the Clippers, even though he got cashed out. Like he sold the Clippers for like a massive amount of money. That guy is one of the biggest, if not the biggest landlord in LA County. So it don't matter that he don't own the Clippers. Every month he get paid. Every first he get paid out, he get cashed out. So even though he lost the Clippers, because he has other revenue streams that got nothing to do with his partnership with the NBA, yeah, he didn't like the fact that they made him sell the team, but he's not going to do bad. And you see, I don't think he might have apologized. I don't believe he did apologize. He just sold the team and kept it moving. And it's just, so it's very interesting to me that Nick Cannon, I remember when that dude was on Nickelodeon, had been doing, you know, he had movies the whole 9 yards. I think he was in Drumline. That he's been in entertainment this long, and he don't even have like, I don't know, $10 million just to say, man, you know what, I just retired. You know, because to me, you know what Griff talk about. You put Griff on the show, you know what Griff gonna talk about, and then when Griff say what you knew he was gonna say, then now you gotta apologize for it. It was just weird to me, but you know, that whole Hollywood scene is weird to me anyway. Appreciate it, Mr. G. Dr. Clark stated we don't have the ability to reward or punish people from the group. Yeah, definitely. That's 100% correct. We don't have the ability to reward or punish people. So, and I've been saying that for years. We can't reward people for going along with us, and we can't punish people for not going along with us. And effective groups can do that. And you definitely 100% correct. Nick ran into a bunch of people that if you don't go along with their narrative, they're going to punish you. And they're going to punish you real hard. They'll run you out of show business if you don't do it. Right? Appreciate it, IT. Appreciate the $10. Snapchat should have sold to Facebook. Yeah, probably in retrospect. But Facebook would have never been to Facebook if they would have sold to Microsoft. So, you know, in retrospect, yeah, they probably should have sold. But you never know. They might have thought they was going to be the next Facebook. They got a good platform. They just can't monetize it. Yeah, Donald Sterling. That's exactly who it was. So he got a house, he must get closer. I feel you. So Erica say he bought a house for each baby mama. He might be getting close to millions of real estate. They're not income producing. Well, at least he got an asset if he owns the house. At least he got some assets. But you're right, they're not income producing. They cost you money now. Yeah, I don't know why you want to have all them kids, man. You know, but it is what it is. Yeah, definitely. And they had a lot of corporate issues with that because, you know, they had that big State Farm campaign going on and the guy just said it at the wrong time. The girl was stupid, though, because I don't understand. You know, I come out of the game. You got a guy paying you like that. You put that information on the internet. So where you at right now? I don't understand how that benefited her situation. And she had a house, she had a condo, she had cars, and she was breaking on the dude. Why put it? That don't change my life at all for me to get that information around Donna Sterling. That man, 90 years old, I already know he think like that. So I don't understand. That whole scenario was weird to me. Well, yeah, they made him sell it. And the guy that bought it, he used to work with Microsoft. He overpaid for that team. Ain't no in the world I buy the Clippers for that kind of money. When somebody told me the price, I say, there's no in the world they're going to buy it for that. But they bought it for it. He wanted to be in the league that bad. He paid NFL money for an NBA team that don't make money like NFL teams. But when you got money, you do stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. He don't own the show. So that's the issue. So he can't take that show and go somewhere else with it or just put it all on YouTube. He can't do that. And so that's the issue. He's been in show business that long. He don't even own his own stuff. You know, it's just weird, but it is what it is. Yeah, he sold it for $2 billion. That's NFL money for an NBA team. That's going to always be the second team. Really, it's going to be the second NBA team. Might be the fourth team in the LA County market. Because I don't think they're going to end up being bigger than the Rams or the Chargers. And I know they're not going to be bigger than the Lakers. So to me, I forgot that guy's name from Microsoft. He overpaid for that team, but that's how bad he wanted to be in the NBA. These dudes get old with that money, man. They just start looking for stuff to buy. They want to be famous. They done made their money. Yeah. But the wife knew about it. I mean, that wife knew about it because I guarantee that's not the only one either. I just don't know why she did it. I don't see what you get out of that by putting that man on Front Street like that and he paying you. I don't get it. Yeah, you know, but people do crazy stuff. They play themselves out of position. So Erica said she thought she was going to be famous. Yeah, she did, but she cut her money off. You know, you're not going to get because the thing about it is that if you do him like that, why would somebody else mess with you? See, this when you don't have no game about yourself. You just out here just doing stuff. You know, so why would anybody mess with her after she did him like that? And most of the dudes she deal with not going to be as successful as him. So you going down the ladder. She should have milked that till that man passed away. These chicks be out here tripping, man. They be blocking their blessing. Yeah, Steve Ballmer. Yeah, Ballmer. When he paid way too much for that team, but he just wanted to be down. Yeah, I guess. You know, I guess. You know, I never understood Mariah Carey, but you know, it is what it is. That man liked what he liked. But I remember Nick Cannon on Nickelodeon. His people from San Diego. You know, so he was fortunate to get into that situation. But you know, I mean, it is what that's his life. That's how he want to live his life. So yeah, we're gonna get up on out of here, man. So I appreciate everybody coming through, but really want to encourage y'all, man, to start looking at things from an economic standpoint. I did it from the equity standpoint. People like Erica Williams can definitely communicate to you how to do this on the real estate side because she knows this side. You got other people that can show you how to do it from the energy side in any industry you're working in, trucking, everything. It's all economic warfare. It's about you getting as much as you can get out of it for your group and you starving other groups out. That's the game that we're in. So one of the ways in which you can be effective in this environment is understand that's the game that we're in and just start trying to figure out how you can play that game and be most effective. So that's what I'm trying to do is start producing people that understand that's what we need to be doing and how they can get down the road towards that particular situation. Appreciate everybody for coming out. It's David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. I'll talk to y'all later.